I keep thinking about the timestamp. 3:47 a.m. That's the part that won't leave me alone, you know? Not what I saw exactly, but that specific time. Because I've checked my phone records from that night and I was definitely asleep. My wife can confirm it. I was snoring, apparently. The usual. This was back in February, I think. Or late January. Doesn't matter. I worked as an overnight data analyst for this insurance company in Newark. Not exciting. Mostly spreadsheets, claim processing, that sort of thing. The office building was one of those converted warehouses, all exposed brick and industrial lighting that never worked quite right. They tried to make it look modern, but it just felt, I don't know, hollow. My actual job didn't involve security at all. I want to make that clear. I wasn't supposed to have access to any of that stuff. What happened was, okay, so our department shared a server room with building security. Shouldn't have been set up that way, but the company was cheap. We'd gotten this email maybe 3 months before the thing I'm trying to tell you about not touching anything that wasn't ours. Stay in your lane, standard corporate stuff. I barely read it. One night, this is maybe 2 weeks before the thing I'm trying to tell you about, I'm downloading this massive data set, right? And my computer keeps timing out, just freezing. So I go into the server room to check if something's unplugged or whatever, and I notice there's this secondary terminal that nobody ever uses. It's running, screen's on, which is weird because usually everything's dark in there except for the little blinking lights. I walk over just curious, and the screen shows this grid, 16 boxes, security camera feeds, the parking garage, the lobby, the stairwells, all that. And I realize, oh, this is the security monitoring station. Makes sense, it's just in the wrong room because, of course it is. I should have walked away right then. But one of the feeds catches my eye. It's the third floor break room, which is my floor, and I can see someone sitting at one of the tables. Just sitting there, in the dark, at like 2 a.m. Now, there's usually 4, maybe 5 people max in the whole building overnight. Me, 2 guys from accounting, the security guard, Dwight, and sometimes this cleaning lady whose name I'd never learned. So seeing someone just sitting in a dark break room isn't exactly normal, but it's also not, maybe they're on a break, maybe they like the quiet. But I watch for a minute and they don't move at all. I remember touching the mouse, the security terminal mouse, and the screen wakes up fully. There's more options. I click around a little. There's a recording function. A whole archive, actually. Goes back months, maybe years. I didn't check that far. That's when Dwight comes in, the security guard. He's holding this thermos of coffee, and he looks at me like I just kicked his dog. "You're not supposed to be on that," he says. Not angry exactly, more tired than anything. I mumble some excuse about my computer, and he just nods, waves me off. "Yeah, okay, just don't mess with the settings, man. I have to file a report if anything gets changed." So I leave, and I don't think about it much after that. Life moves on, you know? More spreadsheets, more claims, my daughter's school play, regular stuff. Then comes the night in question. I'm working late, later than usual, because we had this quarterly audit thing, and I volunteered to take the overnight shift to avoid the daytime politics. Around 3 a.m., I go to get coffee. The break room coffee is terrible, but it's free, so I'm walking down the hallway, and I notice the lights are flickering in that section. The motion sensors have always been glitchy. Sometimes they don't turn on at all, and you're walking through in complete darkness. Other times they strobe like a disco. It's annoying more than anything. But this time, I don't know how to describe it. Stuttering? Like someone's flipping them on and off really fast, but with no rhythm to it. I get to the break room, and the lights there are fine. Everything's normal. I make my coffee, black, too tired for anything fancy, and I'm stirring in some sugar when I hear this sound from the hallway. It's like, you know when someone's walking in wet shoes? That squeaking sound? It was that, but slower, more deliberate, and it's getting closer. I look out through the break room door window, and I can see a shadow moving in the hallway. Just a shadow.
The lights are still flickering, so it's hard to make out details, but it looks like someone walking. Could be Dwight making rounds, could be the cleaning lady. But the footsteps sound wrong. Too heavy? No, that's not it. Too evenly spaced, like someone taking really measured steps. Mechanical, almost. I wait for whoever it is to pass by, but they don't. The shadow stops right outside the break room door. I'm standing there with my coffee mug, feeling stupid, waiting for them to either come in or move along. The shadow doesn't move. It just stays there. After maybe 20 seconds, which feels like forever, I walk over and open the door. Nothing. The hallway's empty. The lights are still flickering, but there's nobody there. I check both directions. Nobody.
Weird, I remember saying out loud, just to myself. Because it was. I go back to my desk, drink my coffee, finish up my work around 4:30 and head home. I forget about it, or I try to. There's something about that moment that sticks with me, though. The shadow that wasn't there, the footsteps that stopped. 3 days later, this is where it gets, I don't know what to call it. I'm back in the server room. My computer's acting up again, same issue, and I see the security terminal is on again. I'm not proud of this, but I check the feeds. Specifically, I check the third-floor break room feed from that night, 3 nights ago, the night with the shadow. It takes me a minute to figure out the playback system. It's not intuitive, but I get it working, and I fast forward to around 3 a.m. There I am on the screen, walking into the break room, making coffee, standing at the counter. I watch myself look toward the door. I watch myself walk over and open it, look around, close it. All normal, exactly what I remember. But here's the thing, and I've gone over this in my head about 1,000 times. The camera angle shows the hallway too. The break room has glass walls on 2 sides, and the camera's positioned so you can see both the interior and a good portion of the hallway outside. I can see the hallway clearly on the footage. And there's nothing there. No shadow, no person. The lights aren't even flickering. I rewind it, watch it again. Same thing. On camera, the hallway lights are completely steady, no flickering at all. But I absolutely know they were flickering that night. I remember it vividly. So I think, okay, maybe the camera doesn't pick up the flickering because of frame rate or whatever. I'm not a video expert. Maybe there's some technical explanation. But then I notice something else. In the footage, when I walk to the door and look out, my body language is all wrong. I look tense on camera, really tense, shoulders up, head forward, like I'm scared. But I wasn't scared that night. I was curious, maybe slightly annoyed, not scared. Except, watching the footage, I looked terrified. I paused the video at the moment right before I opened the door. My face, you can see it reflected in the glass, looks wrong. My expression, I look like someone who's about to run. That's not how I felt. That's not what I remember. I'm sitting there trying to make sense of this when I notice the timestamp. 3:47 a.m. I could swear I was in the break room around 3, maybe 3:05. I remember looking at my phone to check if I had any messages. It was 3:02. But according to the footage, I didn't enter the break room until 3:47. 45 minutes missing. Just gone. I checked my phone's location history later that day. It shows me at the office the entire time. It doesn't help narrow anything down. Now, here's where I probably should have stopped. Any reasonable person would have stopped. But I start going through other nights, other footage. I find myself on camera dozens of times, obviously, walking to the break room, going to the bathroom, heading to my car at the end of shifts, all normal. But then I find something from about 6 weeks earlier, January 15th. I'm on the 4th floor stairwell at 2:13 a.m. I have no memory of being on the 4th floor that night. None. We don't have any reason to go to the 4th floor. It's mostly empty offices for some company that downsized. I've been up there maybe twice in the year I worked there, both times during the day for meetings. But there I am on camera, standing in the stairwell. Just standing there for 11 minutes. Not sitting, not looking at my phone, just standing. At the 8-minute mark, I turn and look directly at the camera. My face is completely blank. Not neutral, blank, like someone forgot to animate it. Then I walk back down the stairs and disappear off screen. I don't remember any of this. I should mention, and this feels important, I don't have a history of sleepwalking. No medical conditions, I don't drink much, barely take aspirin. I'm boringly healthy according to my last physical. But watching this footage, I look like someone else, someone wearing my face. Over the next week, I become obsessed with the archive. I start coming in early to review old footage before my shift starts. I make excuses to go to the server room. Dwight notices but doesn't say anything, just gives me these long looks.
He got really quiet. Then he said, "If you're seeing stuff on those feeds you shouldn't be seeing, best thing to do is forget about it." "What do you mean I shouldn't be seeing?" I asked. He just looked at me. "Those cameras see a lot of things. Doesn't mean we're supposed to understand all of it. Company's been here 15 years. Building's older than that. Lots of footage. Lots of gaps." "Gaps in the footage?" "Gaps in what makes sense," he said. That was the last conversation we had about it. 2 weeks later, my position got eliminated. Company restructuring. They offered me a severance package and a reference letter. Very clean, very professional. I took a job at a different company, better pay actually, day shift. I don't work nights anymore. But sometimes I think about those feeds, about the version of me that stood in stairwells and parking garages and empty conference rooms, the version that walked past myself in a hallway at 4 a.m. I think about what Dwight said, about the cameras seeing things we're not supposed to understand. My wife asked me once why I never park in enclosed garages anymore, why I avoid using the bathroom at work if I can help it, why I sometimes stop in the middle of walking and just check behind me. I told her it's nothing, just a habit. But the real answer is I don't trust my own memory anymore. I don't trust that when I think I'm sitting at my desk, I'm actually sitting at my desk. That when I think 20 minutes have passed, it's actually been 20 minutes. Sometimes I'll be doing something completely normal, making dinner, watching TV, and I'll get this feeling like I'm not really there, like I'm watching myself from a camera angle somewhere. And I wonder if somewhere in some server room I'll never access again, there's footage of me right now, standing in my kitchen, staring at nothing, for hours. I haven't checked the timestamp on my phone lately. I'm afraid of what I might... Actually, you know what? Never mind. This probably sounds crazy. I'm sure there's some explanation I'm missing, some obvious thing. Anyway, that's what happened.